Alright, what's up everyone? So I wanted to do a quick video. I'll try to make it as quick as possible to what to do at 60 Warlock edition. So what spec, what gear to get, all that good stuff. So I'll get right into it to keep it short. But what spec should you play? So there's two main specs. There's Shadow Mastery SM Ruin or Demonic Sacrifice DS Ruin. Those are both the dungeon specs. Shadow Mastery is the more starter, good for dungeons, good all around. And then Demonic Sacrifice has a bit more damage, but more raid-centric. A couple more additional specs that we'll go through, where it's almost the same as Demonic Sacrifice, but you get Master Demonologist, and then Ruin, and then also Shadow Mastery, but instead of going 5 out of 5, you get Imp. So we'll go right into it and look at the first one, Shadow Mastery SM Ruin. So here, you're going full into Affliction, just not getting Dark Pack, so you're 5 out of 5 Improved Corruption, 5 out of 5 Suppression, 2 out of 2 Life Tap, and then here's on the left side here, if you see those yellow diamonds, that's where there's optional. So you can change it depending on your guild needs. I have 3 out of 3 Agony because I'm doing a lot of dungeons right now, so that's a good talent. Most raids you won't be able to put up Agony, but still good to decide what you want on those two. Grab one and Amplify Curse, and then go down to grab your Nightfall. Really good in dungeons when you're putting a lot of corruptions up. Your Grim Reach for 10% more, 20% more range on your affliction spells. And then grab Siphon Life. You're not going to use it much. Honestly, you might not even want it in your bars unless you're doing open world content or PvP, but this allows you to grab your Shadow Mastery. And then Curse of Exhaustion, might as well grab it. There's nothing really else that's really good. You're not going to get full concentration, improved drain life, or improved drain mana. You could if you were doing more open world content. I guess that could help you out, but not the best options. And then again, might as well improve that Curse of Exhaustion for world PvP scenarios. And then you're going to grab the bread and butter here is the Shadow Mastery. You get the 10% shadow damage increase. So that's all for your points in there. And then you move directly over into Destruction, nothing in Demonology. You're going to grab 5 out of 5 Improved Shadow Bolt, 5 out of 5 Bane, then 5 out of 5 Devastation, which increases your crit strike chance, and then Shadow Burn, great finisher in dungeons, and also great ability in raids for when you're moving around and you can't get a full cast off. Get 2 out of 2 Destructive Reach for 20% more reach on your Destro spells. And then you have an extra 2 points. So again, you'll see the diamonds. You can either grab the Cataclysm at the top there where I put 2 points, where you reduce the mana cost of your destruction spells by 1% each time. Or you can grab the Imp Firebolt, so it reduces the cast time. Since you are going to be using an Imp with this spec for the Blood Pack, you can grab that or the reduced mana. I decided to go with the reduced mana. And then finally, the main talent you go down here is the Ruin, final one there for the 21 points. So the next spec, sort of the same for the Ruin part, so I'm not going to go through it again. But instead of going into Affliction, you're going to go into Demonology. So you're going to get 5 out of 5 Demonic Embrace, 2 out of 2 Improved Hellstone. And then the next 2 rows, other than Fell Domination, can go wherever. Honestly, it depends how you play. Most of the time you're going to be sacrificing your demon for dungeons and raids. Well, all the time. So these demons will only come into play, and Fell Intellect, Fell Stamina, or Improved Imp will only come into play on what you like to do in the open world. So however you like to farm, etc., that's how you choose. So get any combination. I like Improved Succubus, and I sometimes use Voidwalker depending what I'm farming. And then I'll get Fell Domination, Master Summoner, and then a few points into Unholy Power to be able to grab Demonic Sacrifice. So with Demonic Sacrifice, you're going to use your Succubus, you're going to sack it, you're going to get 15% increase on your shadow damage. So that's 5% more than your Affliction Tree Shadow Mastery, but again, you don't have an Imp, less utility, more Glass Cannon. And then you have a couple points left over since you don't have to go as far as the Affliction Shadow Mastery to get the bonus damage. So you can go in and grab Improved Corruption, also really good for dungeons and stuff. Improved Life Tap, good in all scenarios. And then you have optional 2 points. You can put them in Suppression. You don't have that. You're not using that many Affliction spells since most of your spells are in raids are going to be Destro. Or you can go grab more Cataclysm for reducing your mana cost. So moving on to more additional specs, not really mainstream, but again, you can try these out if you want, if you're not raiding as much, if you're just doing dungeons too, or just open world farming, these can be fun. So this is the same as the last spec, so Demonic Sacrifice, except you're going to grab 5 out of 5 Unholy Power, so really good Succubus damage, really good Voidwalker and Fell Hunter melee attacks, and then 5 out of 5 Master Demonologist, so your Succubus is going to hit like a truck, and then also your Fell Hunter can be pretty beefy at that point too. So not going to go over again the Ruin, same exact spec. You can put points where you want in the Cataclysm or the Imp, so you can make your Imp pretty strong as well in this one. And then finally, it's the same as the first spec we saw, Shadow Mastery SM Ruin, except you're going to grab the improved Imp in Demonology instead of going 5 out of 5 Shadow Mastery. This is really situational if your raid group decides to put you in the tank group to give more stamina. This gives you 30% more on your blood pack. It's hard to position your Imp, and it's hard to keep your Imp alive in some fights with certain bosses doing AoE. So you might have to keep summoning them. Not the best use of your time. So again, pretty situational. I've seen some people run it, but not the best. So what gear do you want? All of it, right? So we're going to go through each piece from head to the wand. So starting off with the head, the helm. The best item that you can probably get is in dungeons, so the Crimson Felt Hat in Strat Undead from Magistrate. It has some good stats and it has up to 30 spell power. BOEs and crafting, you can get your Green Lens of Shadow Wrath if you're doing engineering. That's better than the Felt Hat for the shadow damage. It goes up to 36 shadow damage, so that's really good. But again, it requires you to get 245 engineering. The next up is the Fellcloth Hood, a tailoring pattern. It has, I think, 20 or 30. I don't know, I think it has 30 shadow damage, so it's still a good option. It just has less stats. And then if you really want to go Glass Cannon, no stats, I put a lot of these on most of the item lists, is the Shadow Wrath. Random drop in the world can go up to 40 shadow damage. Next up is the neck. No good BOEs or crafting necks, so you're going to have to go into dungeons. Strat Live has 2 good ones, but first off we have Skolo. So Vectis Dark Advisor Pendant that can drop 1% chance of hit, I believe, and with some stats. Diana Pearl Necklace, very good neck. Star of Mysteria as well. So Strat Live has 2 good options, and then Anasteri's Heirloom, which has some spell damage, or I think it has some stamina and some spell damage. So all good necks, all good options. Go out there, and so you're going to be running a lot of Strat or Skolo, as you can see. Shoulders, dungeons, Burial Shawl, again, Skolo. All the mini bosses drop him. So great shoulders, very good. Not as good as not that much spell power, but good stats. And then the Deadwalker Mantle. This is, I believe, shadow damage on them. So good option. Very so a lot of gear in Skolo for locks. BOEs and crafting, you can get the Fellclaw shoulders. Less spell power, but a good option while you're transitioning. Or again, get no stats with your Shadow Wrath, and they can go up to 30 spell power. So if you can get a good deal on the auction house, go and grab those. Up for the cape and the back. So on dungeons, we have the Archivist Cape of Shadow Wrath. That's a random drop from all the mini bosses, I believe. It's a cape that no, it is from one specific boss. Sorry, and it's a random suffix that you might be able to get off it. The Sprite Caster Cape from BRD Houndmaster, pretty easily farm. The Houndmaster is one of the first bosses, so you can go in there quickly with small. You can even do it with 2, 3, 4 people instead of a full group. If you want to just go in there quickly, kill it, and reset. And then there's a Deep Woodlands Coke, which is this quest that starts in Hinterland, in Sunken Temple, which gives you it's almost the same as the Sprite Caster, has some spell power and some stats, around roughly with 12 or 15 spell power. And then finally, again, the Glass Cannon, no stats, Shadow Wrath, random drop on the auction house, or if you get it yourself, up to 21 shadow damage. For the chest, you can craft your own Robe of the Void. This requires you to go through Skolo, get the pattern, or buy it off the auction house. It does require 300 tailoring, and once you craft it, it's bop, it's yours, you can't sell it anymore. it's that's the best option. It has some good stats and a lot of shadow power. For BOEs, a pretty good replacement if you don't have time to or the money to go buy Robe of the Void or even the mats. You can get Robe of Winter Night, roughly about 100 gold on most servers probably for the mats. 40 shadow damage, which is a lot, and has some stamina as well. And then again, if you can't get those two, Fell Cloth is a good substitute for the time being. For wrists, not a lot of options. Most of them are from suffixes. So of Shadow Wrath, BRD Incendious, he has blue bracers, rare bracers that drop, and they can have a chance of rolling that. So pretty low percentage chance, but can go up to 21 shadow damage. So same as the greens. If you can find some auction house greens of Shadow Wrath for cheap, definitely go and get those. Or the Arena Wrist Guards from the STV Gurubashi Arena. Hard to get. Most are pretty expensive because they are pretty good bracers. They have crit on them and some spirit. For your hands, in dungeons we have Hands of Power. That's LBRS, Quartermaster Ziggurat. It's pretty hard to farm this with a group since you do have to clear a lot. You got to clear at least 2-3 bosses to get there. So if you do have a dedicated group, definitely the best option until the BOEs at the bottom show up. Mana Shaping Hand Wraps, I've never seen these. I believe they only have a percentage to crit or hit. That's a BRD trash drop. So for BOEs, this is a pattern from Molten Core. If they're going to be expensive, I haven't yet to see them on my server actually. But once they come available, they are a really, really good option and are better than the Hands of Power if you can get your hands on them. Pun not intended. So for dungeons and belts, so we have the Bantok Sash, that's BRD, Octoth the Breaker in Arena, so you can do arena runs for that. The Octor does drop also the Cyclopean Ban, which is good for, it's a ring that's also pretty good, has a good amount of stats and some spell power. So good double drop on him. Clutch of Andros from Skolo has some percentage to hit, I believe. And then the Thuzadin Stash, which is a spell power belt with some nice stats. Definitely a good option as well. And finally for the BOEs, if you can't get none of those, it's a level 35 belt with some spirit, but it has 13 spell power, so really good option if you can't get anything from the dungeons. And for your legs, we have Skyshroud leggings from LBRS, High Warlord Omok, so usually the first boss, so you can easily farm this one. Definitely your best option. Has 8 stamina, 8 intellect, I believe, and I think 34 spell power, so very strong option, better than most tier until you get tier 2. So Spirit Shroud leggings in Ubers from the Beast. These are more stats than Sky Shroud. I think they're double. I think it's 16 stamina intellect. I think it has some spirit as well, and then some spell power, but a lot less. I think it's around 16 spell power as well. So the BOEs and craftings, here we have Fellcloth pants for tailoring. Again, less stats, but the spell power is decent on them. If you can, good substitute until you can get the LBRS Sky Shroud leggings. For your boots, there's Omnicast boots from BRD, Golem Lord. A lot of people run this guy, good drops on him. So that's regular stats on him, and then some spell power. The Maleki foot wraps, those are shadow damage from Strad Undead. A lot of people run this, and not a lot of people can roll on them, so you're pretty much guaranteed to get those if they do drop in your group. And then the Dragon Rider boots, more stats, less spell power from UBRS. My preferred option is definitely the Maleki foot wraps. I also put the no stats of Shadow Wrath random drop greens. Those are also very good. And so for your rings, you can go into dungeons and grab the Don Marco's Band of Domination from Skolo, from Darkmaster Ganling. Again, that guy comes up a lot, so I think 4 or 5 of his drops are bis for our pre-bis, so definitely go into Skolo and start killing Ganling. If your second best ring would definitely be the Eye of Orgrimmar or the Songstone of Ironforge. It's a BRD quest to save the princess, killing Emperor and not killing the princess. It starts with the escort. A lot of people are using the escort quest for farming. Very easy to get, and a lot of people are running it, so has some stats and up to I think it's 16 or 17, maybe 18 spell power. So definitely one of the best options for rings. And as mentioned before, the Cyclopean Ban from Octok the Breaker in Arena in BRD. So for BOEs, you do have some options. You can get the Maiden Circle, which is very good, but probably going to be very rare and very expensive. On my server, I've only seen it once, and it's been ridiculously priced. Band of Unicorn, which is a green BOE. It gives you 13 spell power, so pretty decent option. Most are pretty cheap. They're not usually that expensive. And then Underworld Band, and a low-level epic, lower-level epic that gives you shadow damage and some stats. Honestly, I don't think it's worth the money. If you're loaded, go for it. It's a good option to carry over until you get some other items. Trinkets, my favorite parts. So the Briarwood Reed from UBRS, Jed Runewatcher. He's a rare spawn. A lot of people go in, they do the /target Jed macro. You can fish for him to make sure your instance has him. They do Jed Rend runs. So a lot of people farming this, so definitely one of the best options to get. It lasts you up until BWL, and even onwards if you are unable to get the Nefarious Trinket. Eye of the Beast, it's from a quest from UBRS. It starts, you have to do a part in a lower black rock, then you go upper, and you get this as 2% crit. Definitely your second best option until you can get the talisman from MC. If you can't get any of those, to tide you over, the Burst of Knowledge and BRD from Ambassador is decent. On use, reduces mana cost of spells, and then has a slight, I think it's 14 or 15 constant spell power. Good option, but definitely go for Briarwood Reed and Eye of the Beast. So for weapons, I mainly prefer having a main hand and offhand. So Witchblade in Skolo, again, Dark Master Ganling, has some stats and some spell power. But it's a dagger, pretty good option. If not, Inventor Focal Sword from Mara. You can farm this yourself, so definitely easy to get, and it gives you 1% crit. I'm a big fan of crit, so I'm using that right now. But the Witchblade is also really good with the spell power. For your offhand, there's a bunch of dungeon options, but honestly, unless you get the Drakestone of Shadow Wrath, the Tome of the Lost is okay. It's just stats. Drakestone would be 21 shadow power, or sorry, 11 shadow power. I think that's the highest it can go, or 21 actually is the highest. This is wrong. And then the BOEs for the Spirit of Aquamentus quest, that's the best option. So this gives you 20 spell power. The Spirit of it's a green, it's a long quest, starts in Winterspring, goes to Ungoro, goes to Naris, all around the map. You got to do a lot of running for this one, but definitely worth it. It gives you 20 spell power, lasts you through MC if you don't get anything, any of your drops in there. Two-handers, I'm going to go through quickly. I'm a big fan of the one-hander and the offhand, so you can get your Soul Harvester from the quest, your Warlock quest in Sunken Temple. There's the Zumra's Vexing Cane from Zul'Farrak in the Witch Doctor drops this one, or you can buy the Staff of Jordan if you got the cash. But again, for one-hander with the offhand is definitely a better option. So your wands, last but not least, definitely wands are definitely key. You want some high damage wands. Most of the time you can life tap, but good to have a good wand. So these wands here, Skull's Ghastly Touch has the spell damage, the shadow damage, so you want to try to get that one. That's from Strat Skull. He's a rare spawn. Or you can grab the Bone Creeper Stylist from Skolo, and again, it's Dark Master Ganling. He comes back over and over and over. He's got at least, like I said, 4 or 5 items that you want to go and try to farm. Or you can grab from the auction house, or if you get a good lucky drop, the Suffix of Shadow Wrath goes up to 11 shadow power. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try to cover some enchants and some useful attunements and keys in the next video. So cheers. Hope you like it. Drop a like, leave a comment. If you got any questions, please let me know. Cheers, guys.